This is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review of another 80s horror film. And this time it is the anthology Twilight Zone, the movie. Now, whenever you talk about this film, you always have to mention the sad reality of the situation, which is, first off, I did not grow up with the Twilight Zone show. I haven't seen too many of the episodes. I've seen bits and pieces, but I just have not grown up with the show. I haven't seen much of it. But Steven Spielberg had to deal with Universal, of course, from the success of films like E.T. and others. Hey, let's do a movie that's 4 stories based on TV episodes of the Twilight Zone, remake these episodes. We'll get 4 directors, each one to do each story. So okay, we got John Landis, Steven Spielberg will do one, then Joe Dante, and then George Miller, who of course did Mad Max, The Road Warrior, among others. Joe Dante of The Burbs and Gremlins. Gremlins had not even come out yet. I think that was 84 or so. But Piranha. But the first person he talked to was John Landis, to the point that, hey, Landis, me and you, we're friends. Landis had put Spielberg in a small role in the Blues Brothers. They were good friends. They were on co-produced this. And so first up was John Landis. And he directed an episode, the segment called Time Out, with Vic Morrow as this racist guy who's mad that this Jewish guy took his job, got his promotion, I should say, not took his job, got his promotion. Stephen Williams from Jason Goes to Hell, he played Mr. X on the X-Files. He has a small part there as a patron who's getting a bit pissed off with what Vic Morrow is saying. Vic Morrow walks out, and all of a sudden he's in Nazi Germany, and the Nazis think he's Jewish, and they try to shoot him. Then he falls into the middle of a Ku Klux Klan meeting. John Larroquette, which I forgot he was in there, from Night Court and many others, he's there as one of the Ku Klux Klan members that are hanging Vic Morrow because he's black. Pretty much it's, here's a racist, he's getting his own taste of his own medicine, of being judged for skin color, whatever. I mean, he still looks like Vic Morrow, but everyone's like looking at him, oh, you're Jewish, or you're this. One point he's in Vietnam, and soldiers are chasing after him. But the story, A, is a crappy story, and B, has no ending. And the ending they put on there is even more insulting, where he jumps from a grenade in Vietnam, he's back to Nazi Germany, he's put on a train, asks for help, and I guess is now going to his execution, and that's how the story ends, which is more fucking insulting because you kill the character at a very dark, grim note, which just shows that John Landis is even more a fucking moron. But even taking that out of the equation, John Landis should never have directed again in Hollywood, in my humble opinion, and should have been kicked the fuck out. Just what happened, and the reason there is no ending to that story, is that originally, and they were filming this, the ending was going to be Vic Morrow rescues 2 little Vietnamese kids while helicopters and bombs are going off, explosions are reigning supreme, and John Landis' stupidity blowing up huts with a helicopter right there, a real actor and 2 little kids right there, Landis yelling, get down, lower, lower the helicopter, while all these explosions are happening right by a fucking helicopter. So the helicopter, of course, loses control. And Sally, this footage is up, not in the movie, but it's out there. When the helicopter Vidmar and the two kids are going through this thing of water. Helicopter comes down. The blades hit the water. And sadly, I saw this. I wasn't intending to. But someone actually uploaded all the new snippets of the trial. And thankfully there was no gore or anything. No. But it's just, you see the helicopter hit the water where they were at, then they were gone. Thankfully, no blood, because gore in the movie is fine. In real life, no, no. I'm not for that. But it's just the image where blade, because the helicopter's coming down, the blade goes, and the three of them are there, and then they're gone. And it's haunting. And Vidmar and the two kids were killed. And then apparently, allegedly, Steven Spielberg was so upset that that's why he has not talked to John Landis to this day, which I can't blame him. I mean, I talk shit about Spielberg on other stuff, but like apparently stealing Rick Baker's stuff for E.T. because they were going to do this film called, was it Night Skies or Dark Skies? I forget. I think Night Skies, and then Spielberg got butthurt and then stole Rick Baker's designs, which was pretty much E.T., and Rick Baker didn't get the credit for it, which is why sometimes I call him Steven Spielberg. But I mean, I don't blame Spielberg in this instance where, you know, someone accused him while he was on set, and they're like, oh no, not really, I think it was the other producer, Frank Marshall. And just like how those kids were not even supposed to be there because kids are not supposed to be out that late because of curfew, because there's only a certain amount of time you have to have a kid on set, that there's no reason those kids should have been in there in that dangerous position, because you don't have two little kids, let alone the real actor Vic Morrow, in a fucking water with a real helicopter like right here. The three of them here, the helicopter right here, explosions all around, fucking wind. Did you tell like wind's blowing? Probably just the helicopter, but I mean, a blind man could see that this was doomed to disaster. That's how it was, because it took 3 people's lives. I understand movies, there are accidents, but this was incompetence, stupidity, and then the trial afterward, where John Landis and others, people wanted to try to get them arrested for manslaughter, and of course they got away without any jail time, 0 jail time. But someone pieced all the news snippets from back in the day. It was really interesting to watch. Just if you do watch it, if footage pops up from what would have been the ending to the episode, just fast forward or skip it. But yeah, and John Landis, each time, I just wanted to punch him and break his fucking glasses. break his fucking nose. Because he just seemed like nonchalant or not humorous, but totally not what I would expect from a guy who's been accused and was part of this bullshit. I know Spielberg was definitely pissed because apparently after that happened, Spielberg didn't want to do the movie anymore. And was thinking of even just canceling the project because he was the big producer guy on it. I think he was getting ready to do his segment, and they're like, no, you're kind of contracted to do this, so you have to do it. Which then kind of makes more sense why his segment is so shitty, Spielberg's, because he didn't fucking care anymore. Because he didn't want to do the project anymore. And again, despite all the crap I give Spielberg, I can't blame him in this instance. Like, this is a guy who I trusted, John Landis, this fuckwit, who then did this stupid shit that was totally irresponsible, got 3 people killed, including 2 kids. Then, of course, Spielberg's name is brought into this whole thing because he's the big name on it. And then probably deep down, Spielberg's like, man, I brought this guy in. If I didn't bring this motherfucker in, if it was like someone else, like George Lucas or, I don't know, John Carpenter, whoever else, they wouldn't have done this shit. This is John Landis. This is the guy who did fucking... This is a guy who had his ego up his ass. Just, hey, I did all these car crashes and Blues Brothers. And so, hey, this is nothing. A helicopter explosion is something, you fuckwit. And I know, I forget what it was called, but Steven Spielberg had wanted to do another segment. Like a remake of another episode. I forget the name of it. But after this, when he's like, okay, I guess I'll do it because I gotta fulfill the contract. He wanted to do something as far away from any danger, grimness, jeopardy. Which is why his idea, when you look at Spielberg's episode, Tit the Tan, that's why it's so sugary, sweet, and schmaltzy to the point it makes your teeth rot. And that's why, because Spielberg wanted to not even do anything remotely like that. So yeah, you have the first 2 segments getting back to the film that are shitty. Time Out, because they couldn't film the ending because John Landis got 3 people fucking killed. And then the stupidity of, well, we don't have an ending, so let's edit it to where Vic Morrow's character fucking is going to die. Like, that's how you fucking edit it? So not only did you kill him in real life, you killed the character in the fucking segment too. You dumb piece of shit. Before I even go there to Spielberg's, the prologue was nice. Almost forgot. Dan Aykroyd, Albert Brooks, they're driving and they're humming TV theme songs and trying to guess what the other's humming. And then they start talking about Twilight Zone episodes. And they even have an argument. No, that was in Outer Limits. No, that was The Zone. And then Dan Aykroyd's like, you want to see something scary? And turns this monster and attacks Albert Brooks. Prologue was good. I think the prologue was done by John Landis. He should have just stuck with that. Should have had someone else direct. Hell, get fucking, John Carpenter was doing Christine. Wes Craven. I mean, Wes Craven needed a job. Because it wouldn't be till 84 that he did Elm Street. Give it to Wes Craven or something. Or Toby Hooper. Says Spielberg's gonna work with him and fucking... Well, maybe Toby's like, fuck that, I'm not working with Spielberg again after Poltergeist. When his name was bigger in the promotion than mine. But I mean, there's other people who could have gone than John fucking Landis. Or just have John Landis direct the prologue. There you go. But that prologue was fun. Burgess Meredith from Rocky, and I know he's in quite a few episodes of The Twilight Zone. He narrates throughout the movie. That was cool. Jerry Goldsmith does the score. Does a pretty decent job on the score. I like Jerry Goldsmith's music. And the last two, it's 4 segments. The last two, Joe Dante and George Miller's, are good. That's why I would say overall I like this anthology. Joe Dante's and George Miller's are fun, which I'll get to, but this is just hampered by of course, the tragedy, which is why you have no features. Sorry, I have shorts on if you're wondering. It's hot in here. Just like my temper. I just spent like almost 20 minutes bitching about John Landis. But I mean, I can't do the review without talking about that. John Landis should have gone. If fucking Wesley Snipes went to jail for fucking tax evasion, John Landis should have went to jail for this shit and never should have directed again. Never. And you know what? He wouldn't have been missed. Even movie-wise, what? Trading Places? I don't give a fuck about Trading Places. Sorry. The Stupids? Blues Brothers 2000? Get the fuck out of here, Landis. I have no respect for him as a human being. He got away scot-free, and fuck him. But then, yeah, Steven Spielberg kicked the can. Stanton Crothers, nice to see him in there. He's a guy who goes to the Sunnyvale rest home, talks to these older people. One guy doesn't like that Stanton Crothers is talking to the others, but he's like, hey, what did you used like to do when you were kids? Hey, what game did you like to play? I like to play Kick the Can. So he makes them play Kick the Can, they're kids again. And most of them decide, hey, I want to be old again because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And just the story, it's nothing. It's sugary, sweet, schmaltzy. And forgettable. And it's just like, again, you could tell that Spielberg didn't care. He lost any mojo he had perhaps to doing this because of the accident. Again, like I said before, he didn't even want to continue. He wanted to cancel it. And then he was going to do another one which had a little bit more to it. And this is like, I know it's a remake of a Twilight Zone episode, but it just seems I mean, I know it's stupid because Twilight Zone's not always horror, but there's nothing, I don't know how to put it. It just makes you know Spielberg directed this one? Just made you think of that. I don't know. Just nothing to it, really. And then you get to the Joe Dante one, which like finally is picking up. It's called It's a Good Life, and Kathleen Quinlan, she's a teacher. Dick Miller, may rest in peace, he makes an appearance at a diner. She takes this kid home, and when she gets there, the whole family is too happy. And among the family, you got Nancy Cartwright, who would go on to voice Bart Simpson on The Simpsons. You got Kevin McCarthy, and everyone is so happy, too happy, always agreeing with what the kid says, doing what the kid says. The house is weird. There's parts that I swear like in black and white. It seems like every day is his birthday. There's only cartoons playing on TV. And it's this kid who can do anything with his mind. Like he wants Tamara McCarthy to do magic tricks, and you have this cool looking demon bunny. He puts Nancy Cartwright into the TV in cartoon land, funny enough, because she would be a cartoon later as Bart Simpson. And stuck there for what? How many decades Simpson's been on? So, in a way, that did happen to her. And this is like the imagination is finally peeking through in this anthology. Like Kathleen Quinlan opens the door and there's this big eye. The TV breaks in this cool fashion and this crazy live action but Looney Tunes inspired creature comes out. And then it also has a sweet ending where the kid's like, hey, I sent the people away to where they wanted to go. They don't like me anyway. No one wants me. And then Kathleen Quinlan's like, hey, I'm a teacher. I'll teach you. Maybe you can teach me. And then they go off. And where she's going to teach him how to maybe utilize and control and use his power perhaps for good. So, I mean, it's a really nice segment. Again, it was the actors like Kathleen Quinlan and Kevin McCarthy. Nice to see Nancy Cartwright in an early role. Again, the imagination, the effects were fun. It was a good looking segment. The imagination was just really brewing in that installment. And then the one that does the horror the best is the final one, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, which is based on the Twilight Zone episode that had William Shatner in it. This one stars John Lithgow. And this is, to me, the best segment in the anthology. Because John Lithgow, he's a great actor. Really liked him in films like Harry and the Hendersons, 2010, the year we made contact. And he's just palpable of just being terrified. He's just oozing of fear. Like he's so terrified of flying, you buy it hook, line, sinker. And you keep seeing this thing on the wing of the plane, this crazy gremlin, not gremlin like Joe Dante's Gremlins, but this creature on the plane that keeps wrecking the wing. You keep seeing this thing, including one point where it's up close at the window, and I thought it looked really cool, really neat, the effects. And it was intense. He opens, he steals a gun from someone, the air marshal, and gets a gun from the guy and tries to shoot it and stalls it enough where they're about to land. And I forgot about this because I saw this anthology like a long time ago. I don't have it on DVD or Blu-ray. I'd like to pick it up sometime. I found it online to watch for free. I forgot what website it was, to be honest. And the creature like grabs Lithgow's face and then does this like almost as if, did the T-1000 steal that move from this movie when he did this? Like, I forgot that the creature did that, but I thought that was pretty cool, pretty fun, pretty funny. And yeah, George Miller just did a nice job, knocked out of the park directing-wise in this. And then John Lithgow's taken to what I assume the asylum, but at the same time, it cuts to the plane and everyone sees just how fucked up it is and there's claw marks, so they don't have to buy his story. And then ends with Dan Aykroyd appearance at the end because he was at the beginning, so he makes an appearance at the end. And yeah, I thought the two segments of Joe Dante, George Miller, they worked very well. I think sadly this film is a victim of John Landis' stupidity. If you didn't have John Landis' segment, if you didn't have him directing and getting 3 people killed, And if you had gotten a director, whether it be trying to think, because this year you had John Carpenter doing Christine, you had David Cronenberg doing Dead Zone, Robert Zemeckis. There you go, Robert Zemeckis. But or like someone else, like anyone else, then maybe they would have done a better job. And then Steven Spielberg, he would not have done the schmaltzy episode. Maybe he would have done the other he wanted to do, which he would have had a bit more fire to doing a better job, a good job, and maybe that would have been better. And then you still would have had the Joe Dante and George Miller, and then it would not have had the bad press of, all these, what had happened, which would turn me off. I mean, even then, that doesn't kill a movie. I mean, look at The Crow with Brandon Lee. I mean, that horrible thing happened. But The Crow was still a success. But, I mean, definitely the morale of Spielberg's segment. And then John Landis, that segment is just hard to watch because you know what happened. And then there's no ending because of what happened. So you have an anthology and half the stories suck. It's not a good batting average for an anthology. Hell, you could like edit an anthology, take Joe Dante and George Miller's, and then add in 2 more. Like add in like the rat from Creepshow 2. Or hell, you could add in Chief Woodenhead from Creepshow 2 as well. And there you go. Or if not, add the rat from Creepshow 2 and then try to think, is there an anthology where only one story worked? Take that story and put it into this. But I mean, it must have been some kind of success because they did go through with having an 80s Twilight Zone show. But it probably wasn't the blockbuster they were hoping for. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like I said, the John Landis is a piece of shit. Fuck him and fuck his segment. Steven Spielberg, you tell he had no interest in doing this anymore. So his just is forgettable and schmaltzy. Joe Dante is imaginative and energetic. And George Miller is definitely the most intense and horror of the 4. And to me, the best one. So overall, and Jerry Goldsmith did a good job on the music. The prologue with Dan Aykroyd and Albert Brooks was fun. And, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm surprised they have not tried to do another movie. I know they had that show with that Jordan Peele produced, which I heard a lot of bad things about. But I mean, now that I think about it, they don't really have a lot of anthologies that come to theaters. Once in a while, home video or VOD, like, what was that one, Tales of Halloween, or that one shitty one, Holidays. But not a lot of, I'm talking about like studio, bid budget, bid directors type of anthology. They don't really do that anymore. It's too bad. Hey, what can you do? That's what Goosebumps, the movie, should have been. And then maybe, I would have given a shit about it. But what can you do? But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you in another horror movie review from 1983. Later.